So as we're going along, if you want to speak up, jump in, ask questions, you can do all of the things, raise your hand, type a question in the chat. The more communicative, the better. So I'm going to share my screen here and get down into it. So today is the basically how, like the practical steps for setting up your Fuelin kitchen, really getting yourself in the best so that you can, setting yourself up for success, making sure that you know what to do, when to do it, that you have all the tips and tricks that Scott and I have used, that other, actually a lot of you I know are using them. Yeah, just to be successful.
Hey,
so
just before you start, do you want to make your view full screen? hit the green button or go to view and just make at the very top
in
view and go full screen.
I can't get to view because it is behind this, so hold on. I will stop sharing for a second here. View. There we go.
It's good to see you, Cameron. Been a while.
Hey, Cameron.
I know. Hey, everybody. Out in Steamboat Springs, Colorado for Steamboat Travel this weekend.
Cameron, I'm not far from you. I'm over in Fort Collins.
Oh, nice. It's beautiful out here. You guys
Yeah.
know how to live.
way less hot. You're way less hot than we are right now.
Hey, do you want me to present it?
Sorry.
I can present it.
Nope, I got it.
Got it?
There we go.
Go.
Okay, we good? Everyone can see it?
Perfect.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, agenda for today, how to actually get started. I know a lot of you have been with us for a while, some just joining from the get-go. Sign up for the app, get on the team, and I think this is applicable anytime you're making a food dietary change, just how to set your kitchen up, how to do some meal planning, how to look at the app, go through during the week, see what you need, get everything matched up. Budgeting tips, our favorite tools, tricks, and then actually go through how I put it into practice and how I recommend other athletes put it into practice as well. So this is one of my favorite cookbooks. If you don't have it, I highly recommend. Elise, one of the co-authors, I love this quote. So we can substitute triathlon, but outside of running, swimming, biking, more miles, the single greatest thing athletes can do to improve their performance is learn to cook. And I think by committing to making your daily diet, your race training, fueling a priority, you are committing. And I think cooking at home and going through recipes and kind of really being responsible for your own health is what's going to make the difference and what makes this program successful. So the 10 healthy habits of a Fuelin kitchen. We're gonna go kind of in order from left to right. So taking inventory. When you start, look at everything that you have. What's in your kitchen and your pantry that should be there, what shouldn't. Do you have old spices and sauces that have been in the cupboard for 6 months or longer? Get rid of those. Do you have foods in your pantry that maybe aren't going to be a part of your diet moving forward? Do you have things that you can use? Maybe you've never, you have a Costco sized bag of quinoa, you've never cooked it before. Figure out what you're working with, know what things, what tools you want to have. And then that way you can kind of build your kitchen, pantry, fridge, freezer from there. Organizing your kitchen, same thing that you would do with all of your equipment. If you're setting up your, kind of pain cave training station at home, clean things out. Look at where the best place to put things are so that they're convenient. Organize, do you have all of the pots and pans that you need, measuring devices? Do you have Tupperware? Do you, should you move things over here because you're going to be doing the amount of cooking and processing in one side? Laying everything out, making sure that functionally it flows the way that you need it to is really going to just help take kind of some of the burden off, especially as you get into meal prepping and recipe planning and, putting away. That's one of the things I like the least when I get home from the grocery store, is like actually having to find spots for everything, cleaning it all off. So if your kitchen is organized, it's kind of like if your life is organized, you will be better off for it. Next, checking your Fuelin plan, looking at what you have for the week ahead, looking at what days, and this kind of goes along with the fourth point, calendar alignment. What days are higher calorie, higher carbohydrate days? What are your protein requirements for the week? Do you have any special sessions that are going to need extra hydration, extra fueling? Looking in your pantry, do you have enough of those staples? Do you have, enough picky bars or gels or chews or hydration mix, whatever that may be? Align your week so that going into it that you have what days are going to be days that you're maybe potentially pressed for time. Look at your work schedule, your family schedule, your training schedule. Are you going to have to take a meal on the go? Are you, is there one day that's better to meal prep than another? A day for leftovers, a social outing? So looking at the plan, but then also looking at your calendar and making sure that you know which days are going to be the best days to cook, meal prep, eat out, etc. Then when it comes to actual meal planning, this is probably my favorite part, and that is looking through recipes, looking in recipe books. If you have a family, getting your family involved, what meals do they like? And then aligning that with your training. And I go into it pretty specifically at the end, but laying out for the week, okay, I want to do, fish this day, chicken this day. We do a meatless Monday every week, something, laying out exactly what meals, recipes, and then from there, making a shopping list of what you need. I think the beauty of the app is that you'll know by selecting those recipes that are already in there, you will know exactly what you need, and then you can kind of build your shopping list from there. Another healthy habit, cooking in bulk. Every week, there's a few standard things that I do. I always roast 2 sheet pans of veggies, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, bell peppers. I do that on Sunday nights. It's just kind of a habit. And that way I always have veggies to kind of grab and go or add to things. I always cook a big batch of either quinoa, bulgur, buckwheat, rice, something like that, so that I can keep that in the fridge. I always roast a couple sweet potatoes or mixed with regular potatoes, maybe butternut squash, turnips, something like that. So I have carbohydrates ready to go and add to meals. I don't have a grill currently, so I have to cook mine in like the crock pot, but grill up chicken breasts, grill up any kind of meat of choice. If you're going to be batch cooking or meal prepping, doing ground beef, ground turkey, something like that. So anything that you can do in bulk that's going to make your life easier during the week, this is the time and the place to do it. Freezer and pantry partners. I like to look at your freezer can really be your best friend. Making, if you're going to cook and make a meatloaf, you might as well make 2 and you have 1 to freeze for those busy nights. If you're making a big batch of maybe like a bolognese or a meat sauce, or you're making a big veggie soup, eat some now, freeze some later. What can you pick in the pantry? What do you already have that you can use to bulk up meals? Utilizing the tools and space that you have to help kind of make your life easier down the road. And I think something that's often forgotten or kind of left off is tracking your progress. Kind of like we see improvements in our training and feel better and we're more likely to do it. The same thing goes with meal prepping. You know, if you before were eating all of your meals out and now you're, you know, making breakfast and packing a lunch, that's great. Pat yourself on the back. If you've tried 5 new recipes over the last month, give yourself some credit, you know, celebrate those successes along the way, because that's going to encourage you to keep doing it, to stick with it. When we see progress, we're more likely to stick with that habit. And then sharing your results. One, I know Scott, Jonathan, and myself love to see when you guys are making recipes, our recipes or any recipes for that matter. But I think it's fun as a community when all of the Fuelin athletes are, you know, we're all kind of in this together. It's something that we want to make sure that we're supporting one another, you know, encouraging everyone to really put into practice those healthy habits and rooting for each other. And if someone has a question, you know, I've seen in the Facebook group, oh, I don't, you know, anyone have any meal suggestions for XYZ? So there's always a time to celebrate, but then also sharing with the community and kind of join forces. All right, before going on, anyone want to chime in with anything you found particularly useful or little tricks that you use in the kitchen to help you stay organized? Jordan, I'm looking at you, but you can't really see that I'm looking at you. You do an excellent job.
I'll chime in. I think your point there, like, I think for some people cooking is overwhelming, and sometimes just even starting is overwhelming. So what can be really useful in terms of making that shopping list and going back to the meal plan is maybe just choose within the app even your dinner, and just sort of map out your dinner for the week and go, okay, I'm going to have chicken on a Monday, fish on a Tuesday, beef. I'm talking about an omnivore. If you're a vegetarian or vegan, obviously the choices are going to be different, but from a personal perspective, you might just map out what the main protein is going to be in the evening, and then use that as a starting point to create your shopping list to build your meals around. And that might be the first week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, just to get in the habit of at least knowing what you're going to eat in the night, cooking extra of that so that you can have it for lunch the next day as well. And something as simple as that as a habit can just make a huge difference to the ease at which the week progresses. And so don't try and be too complicated with what you're doing. Just literally pick a protein for each evening meal and then make enough so you've got enough for the next day. And then all you need to do is just associate the color with the amount of carbohydrates to either, as Elizabeth is doing, making the sheet pan of veggies. So that's going to obviously allow her to either have a yellow or a green meal, or if it's a red meal and it's lunch or dinner, just either cooking lower glycemic type vegetables or having a lot more salad with that protein. And something as simple as that could make life extremely easy for you.
Super good point. I think, yeah, it can be overwhelming to change everything at once or expect yourself to have perfection, but having that,
especially if you're not a good cook, like,
yeah.
You know, not everyone's a good cook. Like, it's fine, and you don't have to be Jamie Oliver in the kitchen. Like, you know, a piece of grilled chicken, like, honestly, I use my barbecue. I've got a gas barbecue. I use it pretty much every evening. I just grill everything because I love it. Like, you don't have to char it. You just, you know, just cook it, and it can be a simple piece of chicken, a simple piece of fish, or whatever. So,
yeah. And I think for those of us that maybe aren't as culinary, I use this before for something as simple as chicken. I have maybe 8 open salad dressings in my refrigerator. Put a couple chicken breasts in a bag with some salad dressing, a balsamic vinaigrette, like a miso ginger. Like, you can flavor your chicken different ways. And then, like Scott said, throw it on the grill and you've got a very easily seasoned meal. Throw it in a bag with some spices. Like, it doesn't have to, you know, we don't have to do, I don't know, like a chicken parm.
Yeah.
There are really easy ways to make something like chicken or ground beef or ground turkey tasty without having to turn it into that next level meal.
And Jordan just said she's at the gym, so she's not going to turn the camera on, but she's just saying, like, she is a massive planner. but I like the way she thinks. And like, I know Jordan and I have spoken for a number of years about this. She sort of creates days. So she has meatless Monday, taco Tuesday, wet fish Wednesday. Like it's like she makes a game of it, but that creates a routine. And don't be afraid of having a routine. It doesn't mean you have to eat the same fish every Wednesday. It just means, on a Wednesday, it's fish night. So you could eat grouper, you could eat salmon, you could eat monkfish, you could eat tuna, you could have mackerel. Like there's so many different ways you could look at that. Meatless Monday. You could have tofu, you could have seitan, you could have tempeh, you could just do vegetables like grains. So there's all different ways of doing it. Taco Tuesday I love, by the way, and I always do pizza Sunday. Doesn't rhyme, but I just like pizza Sunday. So, pick whatever works for you and go from there.
Yeah. I think another way, we're always telling you guys to have your labs done. I have seen in my lab work, like iron is low, vitamin D is low, omegas kind of fluctuates. So another way to look at your week is, I know I need 2 servings of red meat a week. I know I want 3 servings of fish a week. I know I want to eat eggs a couple times. So you could even look at your week that way, instead of, making it very functional based on your own personal needs as well. And like, then slot the, insert steak here, insert fish here. So really knowing what your priority is, like Scott said, if it's starting with the protein or starting with a health concern or having a theme, which I love too, Taco Tuesday, never miss it. Meatless Monday, I try not to miss it. Making it fun, but also making it practical, I think is the takeaway there.
And Adrian, it's a great point you've brought up about, like, if you do see the same colored day, and I can think of a guy called James Elliott who just did a post about, he's like, I hate you during the week and then I love you at the back end of the week, because he has like a lot more reds at the start of the week. And then as it comes through to Friday and Saturday, obviously his training volume and intensity goes up, he gets more yellow and green meals. But, to Adrian's point, if he sees red, he knows, okay, I can have fairly similar things to keep life simple for those meals. And it's okay to eat similar meals at certain points. Yes, you need variety in that, and that variety could come by having 3 salads, but just some slightly different ingredients within those salads. So I think it's a good point. And then Jordan just mentioned about a thermometer, and absolutely, and I saw Cameron said that, like, a thermometer, I cannot tell you, an indwelling thermometer in your meat or fish or plant produce, like, it is a game changer. Like, get one that's an electronic one. I think a wired one is better, in my opinion. I know there are better and better Bluetooth thermometers, but honestly, if you want to cook the perfect roast or the perfect fish, then get a thermometer. And, if it's good enough for Jamie Oliver and Gordon Ramsay, it's good enough for me.
It's a good point, and I didn't list that on the tools, so I'm glad that you brought it up. Cool. Does it help you multitask? Like, you can leave your meat?
Massively.
Okay.
I mean, mine, I'll get what one I've got. It's got a metal cord on it, but yeah, you set it. It's got auto function, so you can cook, chicken perfectly, or you can pick red meat, rare, medium, well done, fish, all that. Like, it's amazing. Yeah. And the other thing that's really cool, if you've got a lot of time, if you're into sous vide, which is a bit weird, but sous vide takes I cooked a steak for 5.5 hours. It was a bit weird, but it was amazing. But if you got nothing better to do than just hang around at home and cook eggs for an hour and a half, it's sort of fun.
So I got my strength coach hooked on sous videing food, and he brought it to the gym, and he would cook his food while he was instructing all of us. Like, he would start it at 3, and when I was there at the 5 o'clock class, there was his meat cooking over on the side in the office. So it's another multitasking tool, but like Scott said, is delicious. Really a great tool.
I know we're only on slide 1, so
I know. We're all right. We're getting there.
My fault.
No, this is like the meat of the section. on topic for today. So some budget tips. I think planning, a lot of times I've heard repeatedly, like healthy eating is too expensive. Healthy eating isn't practical. Like I have a family to feed, I have this, takes too much time and money. It can be very expensive, but it can also be very affordable if done the right way. And I think planning is the key to success there. If you're trying every night to stop on your way home from work at, like a Whole Foods or some gourmet market, and you're buying last things at the last minute, or, pre-made salads or whatever, like that's when it gets expensive. So it doesn't have to be. You can, be creative, think outside the box. But then also I want to make sure, like, yes, it's great to budget, but include indulgences so you have that balance. In particular, things that I find or that I really try to do, shop seasonally and shop sales. I know it sounds very old lady-ish, but every week Sprouts sends their little flyer of what's on sale for the week. And I look at it and, if whichever kind of fish is on sale, that's what I'm going to plan for my, for at least 1 or 2 dishes. I go to the farmer's market. Not only can you get, speak to the actual farmers and support that and get quality stuff, but seasonal food and fruits and veggies are higher in nutrients. And oftentimes, finding a summer tomato, great in the summer. Finding like a mango in November is a little more difficult and probably more expensive, or watermelon or pineapple or whatever. For those of us in the States, Costco, Thrive Market is probably my favorite online place to purchase any kind of pantry staple product. They show it, I think it's I don't know, it's $79. It was when I started, I don't know what it is now. Like a year membership, and you get your membership and then they donate one to a family in need. So in a way, you kind of feel good about your membership. And I did the test when I originally signed up. I think this first year I saved like close to $200. So it more than paid for itself. And you can get a lot of stuff shipped right to you. So that's where I look for those kind of products. Costco is where I get, big, huge containers of greens, the big bag of bell peppers, frozen cauliflower rice, frozen, grass-fed beef, wild salmon, those kinds of things, frozen berries. And then places like Trader Joe's, Aldi, even Walmart has the bigger Walmarts have good organic food sections. They carry things like, good brands of avocado oil, nut butters. You just kind of have to be able to look, willing to look through things. Buying organic strategically, not everything that you buy produce wise has to be organic. Another reason I like farmers markets, they can't advertise being organic because a lot of them are small farms and they don't have the money to pay for the certification, but they grow using organic standards and practices. So being smart about what you purchase organically. Frozen, canned, boxed. I can't tell you, like canned salmon, canned tuna, canned sardines. That's how I meet my seafood requirements during, budget wise. I buy some fresh fish, but a lot of it comes from canned fish. Boxed ingredients, frozen ingredients, frozen bags of bell peppers and mushrooms and veggies can go into a stir fry, really makes it easy. I don't, not always the tastiest for like a salad, but if you're, making a big bowl meal, which I know is kind of the easy, quick thing to do, definitely a way to save money. And then if you're into meal delivery services, I have a couple athletes that just don't have the time to cook. All of them, trying to get new customers, they offer, $40, $70, $100 off of your first order, or 40% off your first order. Use that and then just set a calendar reminder, remind yourself to cancel so it doesn't come the next month. Try a different one, cancel, try a different one, then they'll send you a coupon to come back. So there are affordable ways. I think Factor is one. I've tried I've tried them all. Hungry Root, Purple Carrot. Can't think of all the others. Trifecta meals. So there's a bunch out there. At least for that, like you could definitely easily get 2 months worth of food at a very affordable price that someone else is making, and you can look at a lot of them now let you design your own meals macro wise. So it's a pretty easy leap. All right, anyone else have any budgeting tips, or anyone want to chime in?
I don't know. Did you mention I always go in the section where the meat is like close to use by date?
Oh yeah.
I always go to that section. Like, trust me, the use by dates are so comical in terms of best before and stuff like that. So if you're open to it, then you can certainly pick up some pretty amazing cuts of meat, speak to the butcher, things like that. They'll often give you, pretty decent discounts.
Good point. Definitely. Definitely a good way to stock up and save. All right, some of our top kitchen tool recommendations. We're gonna put Scott's thermometer right at the top, so I put a link in there. A high-speed blender, doesn't have to be the expensive Vitamix. I saved up for that and bought one. I love it. You can make all kinds of things in there. But the I don't know, Magic Bullet, the whatever, like they're all really, really good. A spiralizer, kind of a fun way to make veggies, on some of those lower carb meals, making veggie noodles. It's also just a really pretty way to present vegetables. It kind of makes it fun. If you have kids, my nieces and nephew love spiralized veggies, or even apples, things like that. So just a fun way to cook. Crock pot, Instapot, Dutch oven, kind of one and the same, but definitely tools so you can multitask. The crock pot mine is pretty much on all winter long. I'm always cooking something in there. Instapot, great for quick meals, but also for getting, the skin crispy on fish, or if you don't like vegetables, that's a great way to do them because it gets the veggies nice and crispy. Dutch oven, kind of same thing, can go in the oven. I would say essential piece are glass jars and mason jars, containers with lids. You want to be meal prepping, you want to be making stuff ahead, you want to have leftovers. So you need the proper containers for that so that you can be organized in the kitchen. Say, if you buy a bunch of produce, chop up veggies, even if you don't cook them right away, at least that time saving thing is done. So making sure that you have the right containers. Sheet pans, I think, are essential. Salad spinner just makes it easier. A skillet, cast iron skillet, or any kind of stir fry wok, something like that. And then specifically for athletes, I think having a kitchen scale, at least while you're learning proper portion sizes. Now, I think a lot of us, if you've been doing it long enough, I can pretty much eyeball what 6 ounces of fish looks like versus 8 ounces of ground turkey or whatever. But if you're not familiar with it, a kitchen scale can be very helpful. Measuring cups, knives, a set of cutting boards. Some people like to color coordinate them. So they have one cutting board for meat, one for veggies. I don't know that it's necessary, but if it makes it faster, easier for you, all the better. All right.
I've always wanted a salad spinner, but I just think they're so big and cumbersome that everyone tells me they're very good.
Oh, it's so quick.
On the skillet front, I actually pretty much only cook in cast iron. There is advantages there for especially those who struggle with iron. You will get some iron from your food if you're cooking on cast iron. I would certainly recommend getting a small skillet for eggs and sort of, just your breakfast or stuff, and then get a large skillet for cooking steaks and whatnot on. In terms of Dutch oven, I think I have like a traditional sort of Le Creuset Dutch oven, cast iron, and honestly, like, there's nothing better than the smell of slow cooking food from like 8 in the morning or 9 in the morning and just leaving it on all day in the kitchen. So if you want to get hungry, that's a good way of doing it. The only other thing that we don't have on there is I absolutely think air fryers are like literally game changer in the kitchen. If ever, does anyone have an air fryer? Like they are the greatest thing ever. You can do like salmon absolutely perfect in 6.5 minutes with crispy skin and everything. Like Mel puts hers on for about another 3 minutes, but like I think like we've got a Ninja, although it just broke, which is really annoying, but it's 2.5 years of pretty much every day being used. Sweet potato fries, like potatoes, Brussels sprouts with like olive oil and chili flakes over the top. Like you can do perfect veggies, perfect meat, perfect. I cooked a whole chicken in there once. That was pretty cool. Like you just put a whole chicken in and you can cook it that way. It's like, yeah, I would certainly invest. The first air fryer I got was $27 from Kmart. And the only reason we got rid of it is because Mel didn't like the look of it. I loved it. And I reckon it would still be working today. So don't be afraid of Kmart. It looks like a UFO, but it's very, very effective.
Excellent point. I
Yeah.
second that for sure. And if you don't have one and like you're buying, I mean, they have different sizes. The big one, family size, is a large, I guess, tool, but it's so worth it. Like Scott said,
Yeah.
like it's well worth it. And
oh yeah, go on, sorry.
I was just gonna say, Amy made a great comment about buying food in bulk, getting one of those food savers, buying meat. You know, if meat is on sale or it's close to the expiration date, buy a bunch, put it in the food saver, suck out the air, stick it in the freezer. It's an excellent way to save money and kind of shop smart and have things on hand.
And even if you don't have one of those vacuum sealers, like I just use glass. So I went to IKEA. I love IKEA as well, but just because the Scandinavians are so good with organization, but literally just buy the glass containers. Like I probably have 30 of them, all the same size, either the small flat ones or the big ones for soups. And exactly like Amy's saying, like I bulk buy chicken thighs, and we'll just split those into probably 3 or 4 chicken thighs in each of the containers and freeze them. And then on the morning of the evening where I look at, oh, it's chicken night, I pull out one of those containers, put it in the fridge, it defrosts over the course of the day, job done. And then it goes in the air fryer generally. So certainly you can make life easier. In terms of high-speed blenders, look, there's so many different ones. I have a Ninja, it's cheap. It works really effectively. People will swear by NutriBullets, and then other people will swear by, what's that really expensive brand?
Vitamix.
Vitamix. Honestly, I had a Vitamix. I couldn't tell you the difference between a Vitamix and a Ninja, apart from 50% cheaper. So it's up to you. People have Thermomixes. Does anyone have a Thermomix? I think like those things like cost like an absolute fortune. I still don't know what they do compared to like a blender. But I know you can make soup apparently in it. But I think you can make soup with a stick blender as well. Stick blenders are very good. If I don't know if people use those like those things.
Immersion blender.
Yeah, what do you call it? Immersion blender.
Immersion blender.
Yeah, something like that. They're quite useful to have, but again, like non-essential. And then in terms of knives, I use the German brand. Oh God, I'm having I'll pull it up. But a 20 centimeter cook's knife is like probably the only knife you need, honestly. Like you could get by with just a 20 centimeter cook's knife and just buy a really, really good one. We've actually got 2 sets of knives. Mel uses Global and I've got the German brand. But just keep them razor sharp, and honestly, one knife will serve you. But having a good knife changes your whole experience in the kitchen as well. Like if you've got really bad knives, then it sucks. Wusthof, that's it. Yeah, thanks, Jordan. Yeah, I use Wusthof and Mel uses Global, but you know, it's a nice to have, but they certainly make a big difference to your enjoyment within the kitchen.
And those like budget conscious folks, just sharpen the knives that you have, at least. Like start with that, because a sharp knife really does kind of change the game. And then, you know, it's not too early to start a Christmas list.
Father's Day's coming. Oh, it's an Australian Father's Day. I'm sure you can just claim.
Oh, when is that for you?
I have no idea.
Coming up.
I don't know. I should know. It's coming up.
All right. Okay, so how do I do it personally? And I think I'm sure everyone has a different way to do it, but looking, you know, you run your plan, look at your plan for the week. And I always look at my protein needs first, and then I kind of divide that up over the meals. So if I have, you know, 140 grams for the day, and it's kind of consistent every day, then I know that's, you know, 40 grams at my main 3 meals and 20 gram snacks or shakes throughout the day. And then I kind of know, okay, this much, like fish on this day is going to be this. This is how much I'm going to need. Same thing with chicken or tofu or whatever. I look at my higher carb days so that I know which days I'm really going to need to make sure that I have added grains or starches or whatever in there. Same thing with the lower days, the lower carbohydrate days. I'm like, oh, great. Those are going to be salads. Those are quick. This is how I'm going to make that, you know, kind of make that everything match up. Then I look at the recipes and I'll go through and kind of, oh, this, you know, this looks fun. I'll do this one on Tuesday. It's, you know, they're already color coded, so you know it's going to match your carbohydrates for that day. If you know you need a higher protein one, you can kind of look, or lower protein. And then from there, I make my shopping list and I find it easiest when I have a shopping list, because I kind of know how I wind through the store. I either do it by the sections in the store, or it's like proteins, and I list all of those, the carbs sources that I want, veggies, fruits, staples, and then I make a special category for the special ingredients. So if it calls for, I don't know, hoisin sauce or pesto or whatever that you might not have, if you're trying a new recipe, I put those kind of to the side so that I don't forget them when I go to the store, because it's easy to get in the habit. So yeah, that's how I break it down. Kind of looking at the day, like, okay, I'm gonna need this, you know, snack this day, and I'll pick, okay, white toast with almond butter and jelly. Make sure I've got jelly and almond butter in the fridge. I probably have bread in the freezer. If I selected overnight oats and eggs, I make sure I have enough eggs, or I add it to the list. So I look at the meals, pick what I know I'm going to be having for the week, make my shopping list, and go from there. All right. Questions before? I'm not going to stop my screen here.
I just saw Adrian's comment about Liz's recommendation for olives. So what, you're eating olives on the bike?
Oh yeah, I'll pack that. I'll do a little snack pack. Absolutely.
But just so I just want to understand, like, just be aware that 100 grams of olives is probably only going to give you just over 100 calories. 100 grams of olives is quite a lot of olives to carry on a bike, just for those individuals who are considering swapping out like almond butter for olives. I just don't want you to underfuel completely.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. Like, it's cool that you're trying to eat olives. Like, I get the saltiness and all that.
Yeah.
But just be aware that they're probably not going to give you very much. And
I think the little snack packs of olives are like 120 calories.
Really? Must be 100 grams though. Must be 100 grams of olives, which I guess 100 grams isn't a lot, but like, I don't know.
She was asking for alternatives, and it's something I've taken that's less sweet, that is kind of nice to, and it doesn't have to be cold. Goes down quick. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's interesting. I mean, I get, like, you know, I think for those red rides, I think experimenting like with whole foods and foods that, you know, will provide you with some calories and certainly an alternative to, you know, some processed foods, I think is a really good way of, you know, thinking about it. If they are those lower intensity and you do have that opportunity to eat real food, then I would certainly encourage it. Whether it's olives, whether it's, you know, whole nuts. It doesn't have to be an almond butter pouch. Like I love macadamia nuts, and I don't think, do you get macadamia nuts in America?
Yep. They're
You do.
pricey,
Like,
but yep.
I mean, they're super expensive here as well, but like 3 nuts will give you about 120, 130 calories or something like that. Like they're bang for buck in terms of caloric density. They're probably the go-to. And I don't know, they're so creamy and lovely that, you know, just carrying 3 of those could be a simple way on the bike to give you, you know, you split it up into 2 lots of 3 nuts or something. A bit nicer to eat maybe, but something to think about.
Definitely. And I love Jordan's comment too, in case you guys didn't see, she and her husband, Rich, have a shared like iNote that they both add things and contribute to, so that then when it's time to go to the grocery store, it has everything on there. And I've known families that do that. It's a really convenient way to stay organized and communicate.
Yeah. And using the checkbox function on that as well. So it's not just a list, you actually can you know, check it off. And then at the end of each week, once you've done your shop, you just uncheck them all, so it refreshes the list and then you just add to it. And with that, I don't know if Jordan does it, but we tend to split it into sort of sections. So you have like your vegetable section, then your fridge section, then your protein section, and then your pantry. And it just makes life easy just to sort of manage that. And the reality is I probably don't even need that list now unless we're making something special, because I just know what vegetables we're getting, what stuff from the fridge section in terms of milk and eggs and yogurt. And then from the pantry section, that's probably where it changes up. Like, you know, I might be like, okay, this week I'm going to have more baked beans. And for those out there, like, I haven't eaten I don't know, do you eat baked beans?
No,
Do
it's too sweet.
People don't like baked beans? I think in America, there's a lot of added sugar to baked beans.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, you can make your own baked beans. I think we've actually got a recipe in the app for homemade baked beans. Honestly, baked beans are so good. I love them. So yeah.
You add bacon to yours?
On a weekend. But yeah, baked beans, something like that. Like, yeah, just mixing that up. That could be like it can easily be a yellow or a green meal by adding in some pulses for breakfast. Black beans, you could do like a skillet with black beans, with tomatoes, with red kidney beans, and then a couple of eggs dropped in, maybe some minced meat on top of that, just to bulk up the protein element of it, and just dump a heap of cayenne pepper and ground coriander and whatnot, and you've sort of got a Mexican type skillet. Things like that, just trying different things like that in the morning could be very good.
Yeah. I think too, kind of to your point, Scott, of you almost don't even need a list anymore. There's things that I pick up at the grocery store, I guess because we've been doing it for so long. Like, I know I automatically, even if I didn't have meals or recipes planned out for the week, there's always going to be mushrooms, zucchini, bell peppers, Brussels sprouts, greens, bananas, avocados. Like, I get them no matter what. And then I know I have them in my fridge, and then I can kind of utilize them from there based on, you know, if you're the kind that doesn't like to plan everything out, at least you have your fridge stocked. And then you have some freedom in the moment. Like, oh, I've got, you know, bell peppers, maybe I'll use them for this, or I've got avocados, I've got berries. So I think at the very least, just, I mean, if you don't want to make a list, go to the store, get a bunch of healthy stuff, put it in your fridge, and then you can go as you go along. If you know, meal planning and recipe planning seems overwhelming, at least having those things in your kitchen, in your fridge and pantry, if they're not there, you're not going to use them. So at least by having them there, you're more likely to make healthy meals, make better choices. Yeah,
I think that's such an important fact, because if you don't have it there, you can't eat it. And then I know we haven't talked about it, but the flip side of this in terms of organizing your pantry, like it's much easier to avoid than resist. And I know I've talked about this previously, is like, if you've got the cookies in the pantry and you're having a bad day, you will eat the cookies. Like if I've got crisps or chips in the pantry, like at night, I'll eat them. Like it's just the way. I think I was listening to a really good podcast the other day with Peter Attia, and he had a PhD guy on there talking about obesity. It's certainly worth a listen, and just the role of the brain and the hypothalamus, and how we, you know, as potentially as human beings, we're just driven. Like if we're put in an environment, they were talking about like 50% of the world's population, they were talking about genetics and explaining the role of genetics in obesity and the crisis, is that what they're coming to understand is that there's probably about 50% of us that just can't shut off when put in an environment with a lot of food when it's available. And that potentially is one of the explanations. It's not the reason why there's obesity. Obesity is caused by overeating and, you know, excess calories, but it may give an explanation as to why some people really struggle when food is presented to them, as to why they can't stop. And I'm probably in that category. Like I have to be, if I've got food around me, chocolate and stuff, I'll just eat it all day. So, you know, you just, if it's not there though, I can't eat it. So it is something to think about. Yeah,
absolutely. All right. So in lieu of our big discussion about cooking from home, meal prepping, trying different recipes, last month we had the sweat testing challenge, sweat and carb testing. This month for the August challenge, it's going to be the Fuelin recipe challenge. So all you have to do is select a recipe from the app, make the recipe, take either pictures or video. Even better, video would be fun. Make a little reel for social media. That's always cool. Share it on social media and tag Fuelin recipe challenge. That's important because when I go back to look and when we're reposting things, it has to have that on there so that I can keep track of you guys. You can enter every day, multiple times a day. The more the merrier. If you're not on social media, cool, send it to us, send us an email. Maybe, you know, if it's like the lemon poppy seed pancakes, you can tell us why you like them, or, you know, it's a convenient thing, which again, if you've never made batch pancakes and put some in the freezer, very easy way to quick get a like pre-swim snack. Just pull one of those out and stick it in the toaster. Yeah, and we will, I think Scott's gonna announce the July challenge winner here pretty soon, and next month get kind of some one-on-one time with me. Yeah, so we would love to see what you guys can do with some of the recipes.
Yeah, I love that. I think it would be really great to see what cooking.
And it doesn't have to be pretty.
I might throw a few recipes in there.
Good, do it.
And I will announce, I'm going to aim to choose the person who won the July challenge. But just as an FYI, which was really cool, I think we had over 500 sweat and carb tests submitted last month, which was pretty awesome to see. And well, I think like as much as the challenge was cool, like in terms of, you know, someone will win a consultation and whatnot. But I think what's really cool is I think users started to actually see how much they're sweating and how their carb tolerance and capacity can improve, and what products they can actually start to tolerate, and what actually affects them in a positive or a negative way. And, you know, it's great to see athletes being their own scientist and N=1 and experimenting on themselves and actually finding out what's happening. So yeah, really cool to see such a positive impact on the community. So keep it up, and look forward to seeing all these beautiful recipes and you know, products of the kitchen.
Yeah. And if you get any new kitchen tools, if you guys order Scott's expensive knife, put that up on social media too. I want to see it. If you buy an air fryer.
Exactly. And if you got questions afterwards, like, or if you you know, if you've got kitchen equipment, things like that, just share it on the Facebook group, the athlete group, and I'm sure like everyone's got their own little idiosyncrasies in the kitchen that they love, little things. So certainly share them and people will comment on it, I'm sure.
Cool.
Awesome.
All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully picked up some tips or maybe just reminders. I know a lot of you guys are pretty dialed in, but
Yeah, and we do have a few minutes if there's any questions. Are there any questions about this topic or anything else?
Would you guys ever consider doing a packaged meal service with your recipes, or partner with someone, or is that on the roadmap anywhere in the future?
It is, yeah. Is there interest in that?
I'd be interested.
It's so funny you talk about that, Scott, because actually last night I was a bit bored, and so I was just looking through American meal delivery services, and I actually came across that Factor one. But yeah, if anyone knows any people in the meal delivery service, like we have played around with it. Jonathan, actually, which company did you use?
It was Freshly. I know Cameron.
He used Freshly,
before.
and he actually sort of put red, yellow, or green dots on each of the meals associated with the carb content. Did it that way, and I personally, I think it would be amazing to partner up with something like that. I know meal delivery services in America don't seem to be that nationwide. They seem to be quite regional. But if anyone has contacts within the meal delivery service, I think it's an awesome idea. And yeah, we've certainly talked about it internally to, I think for a lot of people like it, you know, who don't have a lot of time, and if we could color code those meals, it'd be pretty awesome.
I have a general question. About electric versus gas. You know, I wish I had a grill. I don't have gas. It's like the one thing that I would love, because I do love cooking, but I really enjoy cooking with gas because I just have more control over it. And sometimes it's harder for me to like sort of evaluate. But my current apartment is electric. So I don't know, any just general tips about how to use that effectively, or like tools that help make that a little bit easier to get right.
Do you have a balcony?
I don't.
Or an outdoor area?
Yeah.
You look like you're at buy a Weber, gas Weber, and get a 2-burner gas Weber and have it outdoors in your outdoor area, and then you got gas. That's what I used to do in my apartment. Even when I was in Toronto, I had a barbecue on the deck, and in the middle of winter I'd be grilling, and they used to think I was mad. But you know, it's hard on electric, like, you know, as you say, the control isn't that great, but you just manage it. I think cooking on lower, put it lower than what you think is probably the best tip. Like start lower and then do it up. There's nothing worse than burning all your food, the bottom of the pan and stuff like that.
And I'll just kind of add to, like, when I was in an apartment, I went out and got one of those Ninja multi-use like crock pots that had the grill, the bake, like it had all these different functions on it. And that helped me control my meat stuff a little bit easier. And it was nice because then I could just throw the veggies in and do everything else just in one pot and not have to worry about it.
Could you share that link on like the Facebook group, John?
Yeah.
That'd be really good. I think it'd be good to just tag Cameron in it. That'd be great.
Yep.
And Jonathan just put the link up there if anyone's not on that Facebook group, which is for athletes only. And I agree, Karen, like induction is awesome. It's just, I guess, if you don't have induction as the, is yours induction, Cam, or is it just standard electric?
probably standard.
Probably standard, yeah.
Yeah.
You
So
would know
It's not fancy.
yeah, induction, you have to have those special pans and all that sort of stuff as well, which is good and bad.
Yeah, we had gas, and like Cam, I loved the temperature control and how quickly it got hot. But when we downsized from our house, we were stuck with electric. So when my son's range broke, I got to play hero by giving him ours, which had nothing wrong with it, and buying an induction range for ourselves. And it's been fantastic.
Perfect. And Les is in the kitchen now, so that's good to see.
Yeah, way to really take the message home, Les. Thanks. That's This is
Very
the
good.
multitasking we were talking about. On the
Very good.
webinar, getting the cooking done, hopefully making enough so there's leftovers.
So
Setting
we
the bar high.
we talked about maybe the next one of these, like maybe, and we were talking about the practical elements. I know like something, we talk about the science a lot, and obviously carbohydrates a lot, and protein and fats, but I think like today's session is really good because you can focus on food and actually what you're eating. So something we put forward was maybe we do like base builders for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So like, you know, a couple of simple ways of making breakfast efficient, couple of ways of making lunch efficient from a salad base, and how you can make 5 different sort of salads from a single base, and then maybe how to make it either red, yellow, or green. And then for dinner, you know, like a roast builder and how to make that either red, yellow, or green. Would that be of interest to everyone? Like just some practical sort of sides of things. Like, yeah, cool. Thought so. Like, it's just nice to talk about food. We all eat it, and you don't eat protein, fat, or carbs. You eat food. So I think it's good to remember that and focus on that and the benefits of eating food. So cool. Okay, hey, that was awesome. I thought that was really great. So well done. Really great engagement from everyone as well. Everyone, yeah. Thank you.
Appreciate it. I'm excited to see some recipes that you guys try and like, and you know, if you have favorite recipes, share them in the Facebook group. You know, I would love to try some of your meals. Like, it's always fun to see what other people love. And if you have any like cookbooks that you like, people are always looking for recommendations for those too. So I think the more we can spread good information amongst the group, better off everyone will be.
Cool.
All right, guys.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.
Donna, if you have any questions about the app, happy to stay on.